The Essential Directorship Masterclass. Building a better board. Although the formal authority to elect directors lies with the shareholders, the power to nominate board members is the key to forming an effective board. Building an effective board takes time and patience on the part of board members and benefits from a professional approach to boardroom procedure. Highly effective boards include a mix of directors with expertise and experience to fulfill their essential oversight roles. Having a board made up of the right people with the relevant skill sets is critical in today's competitive business environment. A board must have the minimum skills required to adequately cover the unique issues, risks and challenges that the particular business faces, and these skills must be up to date. A high-performing board needs leaders, visionaries and strategic thinkers, practical people, analytical people, and communicators. Board building is a continuous activity. Here are some practical tips for assembling a great board. Know the company's vision. Seek the right skills. Develop roles and responsibilities for members. Build a culture and invite debate. Boards must decide how engaged they want to be in influencing decisions and the company's direction. For example, do you want to be a passive board? This is the traditional model. The board's activity and participation are minimal and at the chief executive's discretion. The board has limited accountability. Its main job is ratifying management's decisions. Or the certifying board. This model emphasises credibility to shareholders and the importance of outside directors. The board certifies that the business is managed properly and that the chief executive meets the board's requirements. It also oversees an orderly succession process. Or the engaged board. In this model, the board serves as the chief executive's partner. It provides insight, advice and support on key decisions. It recognises its responsibility for overseeing chief executive and company performance. The board conducts substantive discussions of key issues and actively defines its role and boundaries. Or the intervening board. This model is common in a crisis. The board becomes deeply involved in making key decisions about the company and holds frequent, intense meetings. Or finally, the operating board. This is the deepest level of ongoing board involvement. The board makes key decisions that management then implements. This model is common in early-stage startups whose top executives may have specialised expertise but lack broad management experience. Establishing an overarching level of engagement helps board directors set expectation and ground rules for their roles relative to senior managers' roles. But an engagement philosophy, like most expressions of general principle, does not apply equally to all spheres of activity. Boards, after all, potentially participate in dozens of different areas. So how to balance the board? The essential step in building a first-class professional board is to relate it to the company's needs. Every board should have a rationale. There should be an essential logic behind its size, structure, and specific membership. Board members must have the necessary skills and competencies to fulfill their responsibilities, and a board must gel as a team. So when you're looking for board members, here are some things to consider. Competencies for board members can be broken down into job-related skills necessary to do the job, and personal qualities. Job-related competencies. A board must have the minimum skills required to adequately cover the unique issues, risks and challenges that the particular business faces, and these skills must be up to date. Strategic expertise is the ability to review the strategy through constructive questioning and suggestion. Accounting and finance is the ability to read and comprehend the company's accounts, financial material presented to the board, financial reporting requirements, and some understanding of corporate finance. Legal. The board's responsibility involves overseeing compliance with numerous laws, as well as understanding an individual director's legal duties and responsibilities. Managing risk. Experience in managing areas of major risk to the organisation. Change. Managing people and achieving change. Finance. Experience with financial markets. Industry knowledge. Experience in similar organisations or industries. So now let's look at the personal qualities. Each board member needs to be able to work with the group in a constructive way that ensures there is rigorous debate whilst remaining a highly functioning group. So what does that require? An effective and persuasive communicator whose contribution is concise, objective and clear. Socially competent with a deft touch of humour. Independent of mind without prejudicing loyalty to colleagues and the board. A good listener who can focus on key issues and respond with sound advice. Democratic in balancing the interests of shareholders against the interests of others involved in the business. An achiever in his or her own particular chosen field. This one is particularly relevant to non-executive directors. Constructive in expressing ideas as an individual when divorced from the structure and props of his or her own organisation. Positive in making statements and proposals and unwilling to acquiesce in silence. Personality profiling is a means of studying the dynamic structure of a team and matching individuals to roles and responsibilities. Profiling helps individuals gain an understanding of their working style and how this impacts on their relationships with others in the business environment. The real benefit is when a whole team can be profiled and then discuss how the team works together. Profiling will help identify strengths and weaknesses in the balance of the board, which when related to the experience, knowledge, skills register can be used in future recruitment. Profiling systems include the DISC system, which is about dominance, influence, steadiness and compliance. Belbin team roles, which is a different philosophy. And the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which is another philosophy again. It's widely used in the HR profession, but from my point of view is overcomplicated. Brevi Group uses the wealth dynamics system, which is a simplified version of Myers-Briggs, although independently developed, but fits ideally to the roles of managers and directors, and can also be applied to the understanding of markets and the stage of development of whole countries. You can learn about wealth dynamics and obtain a personal profile at www.knowyourprofile.com. Succession planning is required to ensure a supply of suitable candidates to fill future vacancies, as well as providing opportunities for career development. Boards should ensure that there are up-to-date succession plans for these roles: committee chairs, non-executive directors, executive directors, and senior management. The board should develop a competency matrix describing the competencies, skills and experiences of current directors and those required for new directors. A recruitment specification can then be developed for use when appointing internal and external candidates. Where appropriate, potential internal candidates can then be groomed, trained and mentored for the possibility of filling the leadership positions. As part of the job, it's worth building a competency matrix. This requires 4 stages. Number 1, assess what competencies the board needs. Consideration should be given to weighting the particular competencies. 2, assess what competencies each existing director possesses. 3, evaluate the extent of any competency gaps resulting from a comparison between steps 1 and 2. And 4, define a recruitment specification to fill defined competency gaps. Terms of engagement for non-executive directors. When appointing a non-executive director, you should agree the following terms of engagement. The initial period of tenure, normally 3 years. Time commitment. This is particularly important in the case of chairmanships or potential chairmanships. Remuneration. This may be a fixed annual fee. It is not appropriate for an NED's pay to be linked to company performance, as this could undermine their independence. In addition, the letter of appointment should also specify that all information received as a director should be treated as confidential to the company. Indicate the arrangements for induction. Give details of directors' and officers' liability insurance that will be available, and indicate the need for an annual performance review. It should also state what company resources will be made available to the non-executive director. So, building a better board. Which behaviour model best befits your board? How well balanced is your board in terms of competencies and personalities? How up to date is your succession plan? And are terms of engagement specified and reviewed? And on to the next video.